The Euphrates is one of the world's most important rivers. It flows from Turkey to Syria to Iraq. This long stretch of river has been the main source of water in the area for over 10,000 years. But now, this ancient river is drying up because of terrifying events, plunging millions of people into an era of unprecedented drought. The drying of the Euphrates isn't a surprise because it was predicted in a terrifying prophecy that seems to be coming true, as strange and ancient discoveries have been made under the dried riverbed. The Euphrates River has finally dried up, and something terrifying is happening. The Euphrates River has a special place in human history because it created the Fertile Crescent, a part of ancient Mesopotamia where the first and oldest recorded agricultural practices began. In the past, the Euphrates River gave people a constant source of clean water for farming and other agricultural practices that later spread. The Euphrates is the longest river in Asia, and it, along with the Tigris, makes up the Fertile Crescent. The river flows through steep gorges and canyons in Turkey, then through lowlands in Syria, before cutting clear across Iraq and entering the Persian Gulf. However, this ancient river is now drying up, with water levels dropping along its path. In most places along the lower part of the river has dried up completely. The fishing economies of these places are now almost non-existent because the small pools of water left are polluted or unsafe to drink. The once fertile crescent that gave birth to the world's agriculture is now a desolate land almost unrecognizable from a decade ago. What caused this once powerful river to dry almost overnight? And what does it mean for those who depend on its waters to survive? While there is something left, Syria and Iraq used the river's many resources for agriculture, hydroelectric power plants, and irrigation water for farming. All three countries have had many fights over the control and use of the Euphrates. Turkey has the most control over the river flow because it comes from the Armenian Mountains in East Turkey. The treaties between these three countries go back to World War I when the borders were set. The treaty said that the three Euphrates states would use the river's water in a way that would be good for all three countries. This included any future dams or hydraulic installations built on the river to make hydroelectricity. The number of dams built by Turkey would have a big impact on the flow of the Euphrates into Syria, but most of the effect would be on Iraq. In 1946, Turkey agreed to inform Iraq about hydraulic changes or constructions on the Euphrates River. This would let Iraq build dams on Turkish land to control the flow of the Euphrates so that any constructions made in Turkey wouldn't hurt the Iraqi people. Syria and Turkey were the first to build hydroelectric dams on the Euphrates to fill reservoirs in 1975. They did this almost at the same time. At the same time, the whole Fertile Crescent was hit by a severe drought, which, along with the newly built dams, caused a big drop in the river's flow to a wreck. In 1973, the wreck usually had more than 15 cubic kilometers of water flow, but in 1975, it only had about 9 cubic kilometers. This caused a big crisis in Iraq, and the country threatened to bomb the Tabqa Dam in Turkey, which was a big reason why the river wasn't flowing as much into Iraq. After a series of talks, the three countries agreed, and the dams were opened, which increased the flow of the Euphrates down to a wreck. However, this was just the first in a series of crises involving the flow of the Euphrates, with a wreck always at the end. Syria has the Tabqa Dam, which is the country's largest reservoir. It is on Lake Asad, and over 500,000 hectares of farmland depend on it for irrigation and drinking water. Syria and Turkey have also built smaller dams on tributaries and streams that flow into the Euphrates, hurting Iraq. Turkey started the GAP project to take advantage of the Euphrates River's potential for irrigation and hydroelectricity production in its southeastern provinces. The project covers an area of 80,000 square kilometers and affects more than 10 million people. It also provides water for irrigation to nearly 1 million hectares of agricultural land in the Euphrates Basin, which is more than 20% of Turkey's irrigable land. At first, the World Bank didn't give any money until Turkey, Syria, and Iraq agreed on how to share water from the Euphrates. However, That didn't stop the many dams being built in Turkey and Syria from having a devastating effect on Iraq. Over the last 20 years, water flow from the Euphrates River has been steadily decreasing, leaving areas that depend on the river for irrigation and drinking water without enough water. Climate change and a rise in the Earth's surface temperature have led to more surface water evaporation, which has caused droughts in some places. A recent study of how much water evaporates from reservoirs in the area each year shows that Turkey loses about 2 cubic kilometers of water yearly through evaporation, and Syria loses about 1 cubic kilometer. Iraq loses more than 5 cubic kilometers. The current droughts along the Euphrates River could be caused by the building and closing of dams across the river, but there are other ideas about the river's current state. The voice told the sixth angel, holding the trumpet, to let go of the 4 angels tied to the great Euphrates River. Then the 4 angels would be ready for this hour, day, month, and year, and they would kill 1/3 of the people on earth. According to this part of the 2 people who are not Christians, this may sound like religious ramblings, but strange things have been seen on the riverbed of the Euphrates. As people have explored parts of the river that were previously inaccessible because they were underwater, they have found caves and caverns with strange shapes that are unlike any caves humans could have built. Some of these caves look a lot like prison bars, and archaeologists and regular people have recorded scary sounds coming from the ground. Some have described the sounds as groans and growls that would make your skin crawl and give you nightmares. This was all about today's video. Please share your thoughts on our video below. Don't forget to thumbs up and share our video. Please check out our channel and subscribe if you like what you see. We thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all in the next clip.